Tony Gubber.
Arsenal have lost their last 3 games at Highbury, once in the FA Cup, twice in the Premiership, and the team that led the league in December are now concerned to keep a qualifying place for Europe. Arsenal's cause not helped by suspensions. They have 3 players banned today: Steve Bold, Ray Parlour and 25-goal Ian Wright, who's moonlighting in another profession. The good news, though, for Arsenal is that Tony Adams is back after missing 2 games with a troublesome ankle. Lee Dixon has dispelled doubts about his fitness. Scott Marshall and Steve Hughes retained their places after the 2-0 win at Everton. Alf Ingi Haaland got both goals when Forest dramatically beat Arsenal 2-1 in their first game with Stuart Pearce in charge, but he hasn't scored since, and goals are Nottingham Forest's problem. Only 1 in the last 6 games from Dean Saunders in the 1-0 win at Spurs last week. He will again be employed as a solitary striker. Hopefully less a figure of controversy than when he was last in London, referee Mike Reid of Birmingham. At kick-off, Arsenal are 3rd in the Premiership, but they're 6 points off the pace now being set by Manchester United, and having played a game more. Tony Adams restored to the heart of that Arsenal defence. Oh, that's a great turn by Bergkamp. Now, can he pick somebody out? Too close to Crossley. A superb turn by Bergkamp, showing all his class and all his quality. With all the time that he wanted, surely, to pick out someone. It's a lonely role for Saunders up front, but it brought 3 points last week, if they can hold out against Arsenal. Hughes trying to win the corner. Vieira. Platt. Oh, good turn, Platt. Oh, a little bit of football to enjoy, equal to that skill earlier from Dennis Bergkamp. Platt back in the team in midweek at Everton. What a nice touch and turn. Crossley scooping it away. That will be a free kick. Jurkan fouling Dennis Bergkamp. A clutch of Arsenal players in deep conversation. Winterburn, Bergkamp, Merson. Stephen Hughes is there as well. Hughes takes it. Oh, good save, Crossley. Vieira. Marshall here. Now Winterburn. Out by Cooper, and Nottingham Forest had all 11 players back. Just over 5 minutes left in this first half. Merson. They're just finding it difficult to get through this packed Nottingham Forest defence. Now here's Jurkan coming forward. He showed too much of it to Hughes, but Haaland was quickest to react. He's got Clough and Saunders to look for in the penalty area. Here's Saunders, the flag's up. Offside, it doesn't count. Dean Saunders looks across at a linesman, but it underlines the danger to Arsenal. They've had virtually all of the first half, all of the pressure, but Forest are capable of hitting them on the break. Feels for handball against Merson are ignored. Winterburn, a nice touch. Into Bergkamp. Jurkan was holding his shirt. It's a corner. Well, the Croatian may be indicating that initially Bergkamp had hold of his, but he had a real fistful of that Arsenal number 10 shirt. Keown's up, so too is Adams. Out by little. This is Platt. Merson! It's the best of all the chances that they've had, and somehow Merson conspired to hit it straight at Crossley. Platt hit his shot into the turf. Adams stuck his head in. Merson didn't look, but he was so close to goal. He must have been anticipating the ball hitting the back of the net. In truth, it's a lacklustre first half, but Nottingham Forest, having set out their stall to defend and to try and hit Arsenal on the break, with more cause to be happy at the half-time score. And at half-time, it's Arsenal 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Arsenal missed his cutting edge in the first half. The question now is, can they unlock Nottingham Forest's defence in the second without him? Sure that Dave Bassett and Stuart Pearce, the Nottingham Forest managerial duo, would have told the team more of the same in the second half. Adams. Marshall. Bergkamp on his left foot. It's an elegant goal by Dennis Bergkamp. It's Bergkamp's 11th of the season, and surely that now puts a totally different complexion on the game. Vieira slotted him in magnificently, and that's a great finish. Keown. Dixon. Dixon. Back to Keown on the outside of Pearce, in a good position to cross the ball. Platt! Well, that could have racked it up. Although David Platt applauds the ball cut back to him by Martin Keown. He may reflect that he could have done better from that position. Arsenal finished 5th last season under Bruce Rioch. They qualified for the UEFA Cup and reached the semi-finals of the Coca-Cola Cup. Platt. Hughes, corner. Arsenal edging closer to the comfort of a 2-goal lead. They haven't secured it yet, with the crowd sensing that they're in control. Bergkamp will take the corner. Again, the big three have come up. Keown, Adams and Marshall. Keown's header cleared off the line, perhaps by David Phillips. Steve Hughes from this other side. Away by Guinan. Knocked up by Phillips. Oh, one in the air, well by Stuart Pearce. Here's Brian Roy. Guinan, right foot. Hit Marshall, corner. Brian Roy will take the corner. 14 minutes left. It's too long. Haaland. Merson, who finally comes away with it, pursued by Brian Roy. And finds Bergkamp. Oh, that's a great break. He's not offside. Pearce had played him on. Here's Hughes, faced by Crossley. And his big moment came and went. At 20 years of age, perhaps with too long to think about it. But it was the position of Stuart Pearce which made it possible. Bergkamp slotted it through, and look how much time he's got. All sorts of thoughts going through a young man's mind about what he should do, and he didn't in the end beat Crossley. Winterburn with the throw. Bergkamp. Well, there's no whistle. Peels for handball against Haaland. It's a penalty to Arsenal. Alf-Inge Haaland tries to look distraught. He dragged it back with his left hand. Mike Reid spotted it as quickly as the Arsenal players did. Well, he couldn't have it any clearer than that. And from the penalty spot, Bergkamp now with the chance to make the game safe. Two goals from Bergkamp on the afternoon when Ian Wright isn't available for the first of his two-match suspension. Have steadied Arsenal. A lot for Stuart Pearce and Dave Bassett to ponder after the disappointment of the midweek defeat at the hands of Sheffield Wednesday. Another one here, it appears, at Highbury against Arsenal. And matches are running out for the teams in those relegation places as Merson comes forward. And outruns Chettle. Good run by Merson. He deserves a goal for it. Crossley with the deflection that brings the corner. And would it be unkind to suggest that one or two Nottingham Forest challenges were a bit half-hearted? He just ran right through them. In the end, they let him go and left Crossley to do his bit. Oh, amazing that the goal kick was given after that. Completely unfathomable. Counting the match down into its final seconds as Stuart Pearce is upended by Vieira. Free kick. And I think Vieira's first thought then, when he made that challenge, was that he may be on his way to a booking. In fact, he's got away with it. Now Stuart Pearce, just two in the wall. Aimed at the back post. Haaland didn't get there. Knocked up by Vieira. Winterburn can clear it upfield. And in the first 6 Premier Division games under Stuart Pearce, Nottingham Forest took 13 points from 18. But their form has faded somewhat since those heady days. They've only won 1 of the last 6, 4 points from the last 12. And things just not going their way. Arsenal take the 3 points. Bergkamp with both the goals on the day when Ian Wright was just a spectator. Beginning the first of his two-match ban. Bergkamp scoring in 50 minutes, and then with the penalty after 79. So the absentees, in the end, are not costly. European qualification still very much on for Arsenal, and maybe more. Points still to fight for, and a challenge still to be maintained in the race for the title against Manchester United and Liverpool. Final score here at Highbury, in the end, a fair reflection of the match. Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
So it was a question of patience, a question of ball circulation, and a question of penetration. And so we could do it in the second half, but of course it was very difficult.
Where do you go from here? Obviously you've got to accumulate points, but what can you do? How can you change things?
Well, obviously we're trying very hard to sign a few players. You know, we've been on the phone to a certainly more than 5 players at the moment, you know. We're trying to bring 1 or 2 new faces in to help give the dressing room a bit of a lift. But primarily it's very important that the players I've got try to eradicate the silly mistakes, because I think the way we're playing at the moment, if you take away probably 2 or 3 silly schoolboy errors in a match, we're matching the opposition. But as I say, it's the Premier League. We're playing against Arsenal, the likes of Birdcamp and co. They'll punish you, and they did.
Yeah, it's just about winning at this stage of the season. We've played better than that and haven't won, so, you know, we're pleased, especially with Man United getting beat. You never know now.
I was going to say to you, what was the reaction when you came off and heard that they'd lost at Sunderland? Not a result that anybody would have expected.
Couldn't believe it, and it's a major shock to me, major shock.
I think this result of Sunderland was surprising, but it's always very difficult when you play a big game like Man United did on Wednesday, 3 days later to confirm and to go to Sunderland and to win again. So that just shows that the European Cup can create some surprises.
Well, Arsenal just 3 points off the top now. Imagine where they would have been if they won a few of those home games recently. They've got to be serious championship contenders again, Trevor, haven't they?
Well, defensively, they're not going to give much away. They're always going to be tight. I just feel going forward, you know, they're a little bit thin as far as the squad's concerned. Dennis Bergkamp did well today, but Ian Wright's not there. And when he's not there, they've not quite got the cover. I just don't feel they're quite going to challenge Liverpool and Manchester United personally, but they're certainly in contention.
Okay. Now, there was a tackle in that match you didn't like the look of.
No, I just think over the last month, you know, I've seen 2 or 3 two-footed lunges here. Colin Cooper, it's shown a yellow card. I just think this sort of challenge where you just jump in is a career-threatening challenge, and I think they should be taken out of the game, and the only way to do that is for all of them to be a red card, not a yellow card. And it's not just this particular one. There's been 2 or 3 over the last month. And funnily enough, I mean, Vieira limped off as a result of that, and that actually opened up the opening goal, which was a key one, because as you see, Vieira had a treatment for about a minute and then ways to come on in his waves. And actually, as he trotted onto the field of play, Nottingham Forest, who had picked up everyone very tightly all afternoon, because in fact they came there definitely for the draw. They just played Dean Saunders up. But Vieira now suddenly finds himself with a bit of space, having just come onto the pitch. And that, of course, here Bergkamp gets away from Jurgen, good run, yard or 2. I mean, he certainly is flat with him, isn't he, and allows him that opportunity. Bit of a scuffy shot, actually, not exactly burst in the net, but it's his movement that's given him the chance to tuck it away. And I couldn't then see Nottingham Forest scoring, I have to say. Yeah.
Stuart Pearce reckons they're only just making 1 or 2 sort of schoolboyish errors, Forest. No. Is that how you see it?
No, I think there's a bigger gulf than that. And I've got to look at the attacking end. You know, I think, what's it, 24 goals, 29 matches, and one in about the last 6 or 7. If you don't look as if you're going to score goals, let alone score goals, you've got problems. And I think the midfield, they just filled up. And you can see here, you've got the likes of Cooper, Haaland, Phillips, all in midfield. So when it comes out, that is not a Nottingham Forest ball up front. That is a welly, let's get it away. There's no composure there. And also, I think, because they loaded up the midfield with 5, and here's Dean Saunders in the picture as well. Look at that 6. They're so close to each other, and then they just knock it forward, you know, all nervously. There's sort of no relaxation in their build-up. There's no width. And look at this ball as it goes forward. Where is the width here? You've got all again the 6 attacking players, just with the width of the centre circle. And because of that, the Nottingham Forest game is all about spreading the play. Now, Nigel Clough can't play it out to the left here because no one's there. He just knocks it back to Colin Cooper. And again, look at the channel he's got to go through, Des. You know, I know they haven't got Steve Stone. I know they're lacking as squad players. They must get at least 1 striker and some attacking players to give them the width. And Alan pointed out Middlesbrough, you know, the movement in their play. You didn't see that in the whole of the 90 minutes for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah. Now, here's a collector's item for you at home, because Alan's a big fan of one of the attackers in that match.
I wouldn't go that far.
Bated breath.
Come on. No, Dennis Bergkamp, for me, in the Premiership, he's got the best all-round game of any attacker. He really has.
Any player in the Premiership?
I think his movement, finishing, touch and technique is sensational. I think if Arsenal could take some of the fire out of Ian Wright and give it to Dennis Bergkamp, they'd have the dream ticket.
Wow. Hearing this, Dennis? Well, they've had an amazing 30-year run in the top division. Now, Everton are now just 8 points above the relegation zone after today's defeat. Joe Royle's side have taken just 5 points from the last 11 games. The bottom 3 weren't in league action. Forest stay 4th bottom. And Sunderland's win over Manchester United moves them above Coventry, who've got just 8 games left. At the better end, United's lead is cut to 3 points. Arsenal move above Liverpool into 2nd. Newcastle play Liverpool at Anfield on Monday. Rather important match, I would have thought.